the tools that you can use to help understand any two cultures or multiple cultures is a very handy tool pioneered by Geert Hofstede. Geert Hofstede did his research with IBM because it's such an international company, and he came up with some metrics for comparison. So the link will be posted down below in the video, but once you open the link, it'll take you to this page right here. And you can take and select any number of countries. We'll start with the United States just for comparison. It'll first pop up the metrics for the United States, and so it has 6 metrics here. One is power distance. Power distance describes the distance between a superior, such as a manager, a boss, government official, etc., someone with status, versus someone who is below them, the employees to the manager, citizens to a politician, etc. Individualism is just that, the percent to which we think as individuals rather than collective. These will become more relevant as I add a comparison country. In fact, let's just go ahead and do that. Pick something right off the top of my head. We'll go for the Philippines. Ooh, how very interesting. So here we see, for the United States is here in gray, our power distance is 40, whereas in the Philippines the power distance is 94. So what does this mean? This means in the United States, your boss is still your boss, but is also kind of your pal. In the Philippines, your boss is like a demigod, or so it would seem. Your boss is very much above you, and you are in a very subservient position. However, individualism, the United States is 91. We're very individualistic. If you look at the Filipinos, they are 32. So they are much more collective in the way that they think. Now, masculinity relates to how a culture rewards individual achievement and how it nurtures people and that kind of thing. And so the masculinity is not as nurturing, the feminine is more nurturing. And so here, the United States 62, Filipinos 64, we're neck and neck. Uncertainty avoidance describes how a culture feels with ambiguity, and we're kind of in the middle of the stack on this one. So many cultures want things spelt out to the nth degree, whereas others will kind of, to those cultures it would seem like they're flying by the seat of their pants. Long-term orientation is related to making difficult decisions that relate to sacrifice and delayed gratification. And so again, here the United States and the Philippines are somewhat neck and neck together. And an indulgence is a very similar thing, but is more in terms of the here and now, whereas long-term orientation is more future-oriented. So you can take any number of countries and compare the two together and see how they compare and contrast. This is important because oftentimes we feel as if, well, we know that country and they're just like us. In fact, I talked with one pastor who has a lot of Hispanics in his church, and he said, well, they're really American, they're just like us. And in many respects, they are. At the human level, we're all human, we all struggle with basic sins and problems and whatnot. But just something for individualism or power distance, how they would view him as pastor, and how I, as a white male in the United States, might view him as pastor, are very, very different. I look at him, as a friend and advisor, and other cultures would look at him as a kind of prophet priest. With individualism, I might, in the United States, it might be very high. I might take his opinion under advisement, whereas with low individualism and high power distance, a culture like that might take his opinion as, a word from on high. And so these very minor things can make huge differences. You might ask someone to do something for you, and because of their view of your status, you might not have that view of your status. You might be very low power distance. But their view of your status means that they will tell you what you want to hear, and sometimes not the truth. Or it means that they will do whatever you want and not actually give you the real opinion. So this is a handy tool to get a lot of information quickly.